Hey, so I was talking to a friend, or actually, I was connecting with a friend the other day, and we are talking about the passion for learning and whatnot. And essentially, what we reached out was that a friend was saying that, hey, I at a point where I am not passionate, or in fact lacking the motivation to learn. And it struck me because in some sense, we all got caught up with the, you can say, day to day problems of our life. And then we essentially forgot for that joy that we get from learning. And these days, even with the presence of AI and other generative tools, my take, at least, is that they amplify that process. Tools could take the joy out of learning on your own and really passionately exploring problems and really going after them and really learning from those mistakes as you go along. Struck me because I was in that situation. I'm really always passionate about learning things. However, I almost got into that route of numbness simply because I almost gave up on learning. But hey, you shouldn't. And eventually, one really huge paradox that I faced, at least in my own, was hey, how can I really balance out learning and, well, earning money or capital? But it's not really about capital, right? But sometimes it's like those things don't align on situations. So for me, the best environment where I found learning in was engineering. And learning engineering and continuously engineering through different problems gave me the chance to actually understand what I'm working on and continuously pursue that passion. But this would be a lie if I said, hey, I just went in and explored problems, because it doesn't really make sense if you don't add or couple it with the business mindset. So my goal here in this video is to at least share my experience into how I approached the engineering business intersection. And it is often the case that in engineering, what you're trying to do is come up with the crude solution. And then once you arrive at that crude solution, use that, well, solution to build on top of that. And you go through multiple refinements, multiple stages before you arrive at that desired requirement. So to do this, engineering requires continuous capital flow. And to do that continuous capital flow, where would you generate it from? So it feels like business really wants to optimize its expenses and then maximize its income. But at the same time, technology is all about, or is all about optimizing further. Not really getting it efficient, but it could also mean getting that prototype out and then seeing it from there. So why am I in this conversation loop now? So the whole point of this video, when I started the video, was that, okay, why did I lose the passion? I didn't lose it. I regained it. But why do you feel like you're losing the passion to learn? The reason could be because you're forced to solve monotonic daily problems, which could take your bandwidth, which could take away not only your bandwidth, but which could take away your attention to solve really meaningful problems when you are just taken away or strayed from the path of actually solving really delicious problems that you can solve. So this could be it. And how can you gear back? These are chores. You cannot really remove them. So the chores could be a boring job, maybe that you're currently working on, or some situation, life situation that you're in. Let's say if you're an international student, you that could be your current situations and whatnot. that or other auxiliary, not really the main focus, but auxiliary situational problems that are taking away your attention and focus. So, how can you still focus in the situation? It's really hard. And really, the best way you can approach this, you can approach this the autistic way, where you can try to get not only the autistic, but get every detail somehow organized, right? Really get your to do list, right? And write every little thing, document really well, trace the timeline, see different metrics, have that continuous work in your mind, but externalized. Or internalize everything. So you have the options. So that the first option was to externalize to your extremities. And the second option is, well, internalize heavily, which I don't really suggest. But either way, they consume a lot of effort. It's just your choice in the sense that, hey, I can understand things, but the first approach, which is internalization, is essentially lazy loading. What I mean by that is you're like, okay, you procrastinate a lot on your situations, and it would cause this temporarily lose situational awareness. But then at the same time, it could also be really divergent externally, and then really focus extremely on just writing out everything, writing out your thoughts. Well, journaling is one of them until you get to the core problem or core problem in your routine. And I have done both. And it feels like the approach or the method doesn't really matter after all. It's like you can approach both and you can really work with whatever method and choose whatever method works for you. So that's one thing that I have learned throughout my process. And throughout this process, you'll pick up a lot of tools, resources, and a bunch of other really useful, I could say again, to repeat myself. So tools and resources. And they really save your life because at least eventually these tools could shave off, I don't know, 2% of that routine, but it eventually compounds and capitalize on that compound interest from those usage of tools to initially shave off your chores. Eventually, you'll get to do that useful thing that you're going after. But it can be painful, like getting out of that, I could say, mental rut, brain fog. It could be really challenging, could be really it could be really hard and at times nearly depressing. So for me, I don't have, I'm okay. I don't want to admit it, but it could be nearly depressing in the sense that you could get to that moment where you feel like I should be learning, but there's no thought that is coming to your mind and everything. That level of uninspiredness could cause that slight depression.